Good morning. God is at work in your life. He's at work in my life. And as we have seen over the past few weeks, the Lord is at work in David's life. But if you can acknowledge that God is at work in your life, how do you share with others that work? How do you share with others the work the Lord is doing in your life? With loved ones, with friends, with co-workers, with neighbors? Now, I know what you're thinking. Mary, we are in the midst of a quarantine. How can I sit down and share with others what the Lord has done in my life or is doing currently? Well, let me respectfully disagree with that thought process. See, I think we are facing a new environment where others have this urgency to hear the good news, how God is working in your life. See, people want to hear how God works in the mundane, whether you're folding clothes or doing dishes for the umpteenth time, or maybe the way you faced a challenge and the Lord sought you through, or maybe how God is working in the midst of this COVID-19 crisis. See, we have many platforms that we can speak to others. We might not have these sit-down conversations that we're used to, but we certainly have social media. We can still pick up the phone and text somebody, and we even have that thing called snail mail, that we can write a letter to somebody to share how God is working in our lives. Now, you don't have to be ordained to share. You don't have to know the Hebrew and the Greek translation of the Bible to share the good news and how God is working in your life. It's simply just taking the time to acknowledge what God has done in your life, even today. But let's learn from David in Psalm 40 how he shares his testimony and how God is glorified. In Psalm 41, we read, "I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock. He gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him." See, David knows that the Lord is at work in his life, and he is remembering a time that he faced a crisis. And he begins by saying, "I waited patiently." That's actually translated, "I waited. And when something's repeated twice in the Bible, we know that there's urgency or some kind of desperation behind it. So there was, "I waited for the Lord." And what happened? The Lord turned and heard his cry. God was listening to David. And he lifted David out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. Do you see the picture David's trying to paint for us? That slimy pit and mud and mire is a picture of danger. Maybe death. It could be physical death. Somebody could be threatening him. It could be spiritual death because of sin, where sin has brought David. But what we see is a sense of helplessness. Whatever it is that David's facing, he cannot pull himself out of. He is waiting for the Lord to rescue him. And the Lord does that as we go on. He set my feet on rock and gave me a firm place to stand. David is celebrating this deliverance, and he's not going to be quiet about it. He's going to sing the Lord a new song, which was placed in his mouth, right? A hymn of praise to our God. Now, he's not just walking around the house singing this praise. He wants others to know about it. He doesn't want to be silent. This isn't just a story for David to keep in his own heart. He wants others to know how the Lord delivered him and rescued him. He says, "Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him." He wants everybody to know that it wasn't David that rescued himself. It was the Lord. Now he'll go on in verse 10, "I do not hide your righteousness in my heart. I speak of your faithfulness and your saving help. I do not conceal your love and your faithfulness from the great assembly." David wants everybody to know. The great assembly means his people. He wants everybody to know what the Lord has done, the good work the Lord has done in his own life. See, when we praise and when we share our testimony with others, we are enhancing God's mission. So we have so much to learn from David. If David was quiet about his testimony, how much of the Old Testament would we really be missing? Right? David wrote some of these pieces about 3,500 years ago. That's a long time ago. And here we are today, still studying, still learning from David on how to share our testimony, how to share God's good work in our own lives. Now that would be like if you sat down today and you started to write out how God has been faithful in your life, and in the year 5520, somebody opening up that letter or maybe that book and studying it so that they too can grow in the words that the Lord has laid on your lips and in your pen of how he's been faithful in your life. So like I said, we have so much to learn from David and his ability to share freely with what the Lord has done in his own life. Let us share our testimony so that we can help others keep their eyes on the Lord and not on the crisis that they are facing. Who can you share your testimony with today?